The silent void stretched endlessly as Rathven's small cloaked ship drifted closer to the wreckage. Fire and fragments of the destroyed space station floated like ghosts across the darkness. Every few seconds, a small explosion burst from the debris, silent flashes of orange light swallowed by the black. The alien spy gripped his console tightly. His scanner showed one weak life signal fading fast. It was still him, Captain Elias Ward. Life support, critical, the ship's AI reported. Human heartbeat irregular. Oxygen supply nearly depleted. Rathven's cold alien hands hesitated above the controls. His orders were clear: return home, report his findings, erase the human recordings. But something inside him refused to obey. Prepare recovery protocols, he commanded. The AI's voice echoed back, calm but uncertain. That action will reveal your location to the Empire. I am aware, Rathven replied softly. Do it anyway. The ship hummed, lowering its shields just enough to extend a tractor beam. Pale blue light spread across the debris field, scanning for the human's exact position. Finally, the sensors locked on. A small figure drifted among the metal ruins, holding another damaged suit, another human. Elias Ward was trying to keep a crewmate alive, pressing a broken oxygen tube to her mouth, even while his own air was almost gone. Rathven stared at the screen, speechless. He's still helping her? The tractor beam activated, pulling both of them toward the ship's airlock. The computer warned again, enemy probes approaching within 7 minutes. Faster, Rathven whispered. The human bodies floated gently into the chamber. The airlock sealed behind them with a hiss. For the first time, Rathven saw a living human up close, fragile, pale, face covered with burns and blood. His breathing was shallow, but his hands still gripped the other human's suit tightly, refusing to let go. Get him to medbay, Rathven ordered the robotic arms. Now. Machines moved quickly, placing the humans on recovery tables. Oxygen filled the room. The ship's healing gel began repairing the wounds. The second human, a woman, was already gone. But Elias, somehow he clung to life. Rathven watched from behind the glass, silent. He didn't understand why it bothered him, the sight of one human refusing to let death take him. Hours passed. The alien ship floated in stealth, drifting through the shadows near the moon. The Empire's probes scanned nearby space, searching for him, but Rathven stayed hidden. Finally, a soft cough came from the medbay. Elias Ward opened his eyes. The light above him was dim. The air smelled strange. He tried to sit up, but pain burned through his chest. Then he saw the figure standing near the door, tall, gray-skinned, eyes glowing blue. Where am I? Elias whispered, his voice weak. Rathven stepped forward slowly. You are aboard my ship, he said in his low, echoing voice. You were dying. I brought you here. Elias blinked, confused. You're not human. No, Rathven said calmly. I am Zyron. My people watch your kind. Elias tried to laugh, but it came out as a cough. So, an alien saved me? That's new. Rathven tilted his head. You risked your life for others. Why? The human looked at him as if the question was strange. Because that's what we do, Elias said simply. I was the captain. My crew needed me. That logic is flawed, Rathven said. You could have lived. Elias shook his head weakly. Living means nothing if you leave everyone else behind. Those words hung in the air. For the first time, Rathven couldn't respond. He had no answer, no translation for such thinking. He turned away and looked out the viewing window, watching the stars shimmer. Behind them, Earth glowed, blue and beautiful, fragile yet alive. Rathven's voice lowered. My people believe emotions are weakness. Sacrifice is waste. But you, he turned back. You chose death. Elias smiled faintly. Maybe that's what makes us human. Before Rathven could speak again, his console beeped. The alarm flashed red. Incoming transmission, High Marshal Krith. Rathven's pulse quickened. He walked to the controls and opened the message. The holographic image of the Zyron commander appeared, tall, armored, eyes burning with authority. Rathven, Krith said coldly. You have violated direct orders. You broke stealth protocols and used forbidden energy beams in a human sector. I did what was necessary, Rathven replied firmly. You saved a primitive creature. Krith shouted. You endangered the mission. Rathven stood silent. Behind him, Elias tried to rise from the bed, confused by the strange alien voices echoing through the room. Krith's tone grew harsher. You are ordered to destroy the human and return immediately. Do you understand? Rathven hesitated. His claws tapped the console again. No. Krith froze. What did you say? I said no, Rathven repeated. This human has shown me something the Empire has never understood. Courage. You call it weakness. I call it strength. Krith's expression twisted in fury. You have been contaminated by their sickness. You will be hunted for treason. The transmission cut off. Silence filled the ship again. The alarms continued to blink. Enemy warships were approaching. Elias looked at Rathven. That didn't sound good. Rathven turned to him, eyes glowing brighter. They are coming to destroy us both. Elias, still pale but smiling faintly, said, Then we'd better move fast. Rathven stared at him. This injured human, barely alive, yet ready to fight. He felt something shift inside him. Respect. Maybe even admiration. Can you walk? Rathven asked. Barely, Elias said, standing with effort. But I've been through worse. Rathven handed him a breathing mask filled with fresh oxygen. Stay close to me. The ship's engines roared to life, shaking the cabin. Outside, 3 Zyran war probes entered the area, scanning for the traitor. Their metallic wings glowed red, ready to fire. Hold on, Rathven said. The small ship darted through the debris field, weaving between chunks of metal and fire. Laser beams sliced through the darkness, narrowly missing them. The explosions lit the inside of the cockpit with blinding flashes. Elias gritted his teeth. You sure this thing can outrun them? Not forever, Rathven replied. But humans are known for chaos. Perhaps we try that. Elias smiled. Now you're thinking like one of us. They flew dangerously close to the remains of the space station. Rathven activated magnetic charges, pulling fragments behind them. The probes followed, unaware that the debris field was about to collapse. 3, 2, 1, Rathven whispered. The charges exploded. Metal fragments burst outward, hitting the enemy probes. 2 were destroyed instantly. The third spun out of control, smoke trailing behind. Elias stared in shock. Nice move. Rathven allowed himself a rare smirk. Humans are not the only ones who adapt. But the moment of peace didn't last. The ship's power flickered. The stealth system was nearly burned out. Alarms screamed again. One of the enemy warships had sent a signal. Reinforcements were on the way. Elias looked at Rathven. We can't win against all of them. Then we run, Rathven said. And we learn. The human captain nodded. Sounds like a plan. As the stars blurred around them, the small alien craft vanished into the darkness of space. Rathven sat silently at the controls, glancing at the human beside him. The stars outside stretched into long silver lines as Rathven's small stealth ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. For a moment there was peace. No explosions, no alarms, only silence and the soft hum of the engines. Inside the cockpit, Captain Elias Ward leaned back, breathing through a mask connected to alien medical tubes. His body ached, his ribs were broken, and his hands trembled, but his spirit hadn't faded. Rathven sat across from him, his glowing eyes fixed on the navigation panel. His hands moved with precision, but his mind was elsewhere, on the strange human beside him. He had seen 1,000 alien species in his service to the Zyran Empire. Some were stronger, faster, smarter. But none had done what this human did, fight for others even in certain death. Rathven finally spoke, his voice deep but calm. You should be dead. Elias gave a faint laugh. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. You survived a reactor explosion. Your body endured temperatures that should melt your suit. Your lungs. Elias interrupted softly, maybe someone up there just isn't done with me yet. Rathven tilted his head, confused. Up there? You mean your deity? Elias nodded slowly. We humans have this habit. When we're almost gone, we still believe there's something bigger watching over us. Faith, Rathven muttered. A concept we abandoned long ago. Elias looked at him, his eyes calm despite the pain. Maybe that's why you came here, to remember what it feels like. Rathven didn't answer. He just stared out the viewport as the ship exited faster-than-light speed near a belt of asteroids. They were far from Earth now, safe for the moment. But the scanner still glowed red. The Zyran fleet was searching every corner of space. The Empire had declared Rathven a traitor. He turned back to the human. We cannot go to your planet. They would follow. Millions could die. Elias nodded. Then we hide. We find another way. You wish to fight them? Rathven asked. You're one man. Elias smiled weakly. Then it's a good thing you're not. Hours later, the alien ship landed on a dark asteroid with a thin metal surface, a forgotten mining outpost. The lights flickered on as they entered the hidden base. Dust floated through the stale air. Old human machines lay broken, rusted from years of abandonment. It was quiet, too quiet. Elias limped forward, supported by a metal cane Rathven had crafted. This place looks like it's been dead for decades. Rathven scanned the area. It was once a Terran mining station. Abandoned after your people ran out of fuel. Elias smiled faintly. Guess we left our mess everywhere, huh? Rathven ignored the comment, focusing on the scanner. We can recharge my stealth drives here. But the energy field is weak. If the Empire tracks us, we will not survive. Elias lowered himself onto a broken crate. His body was still healing, but his mind was sharp. Then we make sure they don't find us. You said they watch every world, right? Maybe we can turn that against them. Rathven frowned. Explain. Elias leaned forward. You've got the tech. I've got the instincts. You want to learn about human courage? Let me show you how we fight when the odds are impossible. For a moment, Rathven studied him, a wounded man sitting in the dark, still planning to fight an empire. It didn't make sense, yet it felt right. You are strange, Rathven said. Elias smiled. I'll take that as a compliment. They worked together for hours. Rathven connected his alien systems to the old human computers, creating a signal decoy to confuse the Zyron scanners. Elias helped reroute the power cells even while wincing from pain. You should rest, Rathven said. Rest later, Elias replied. Survive now. As they worked, a strange bond began to form, not of trust but of understanding. Rathven began to see patterns in the human mind, their endless will to adapt, to fight, to survive no matter what. Finally, the decoy field activated. A pulse of static rippled through space, creating hundreds of false signals. Rathven looked at the scanner in surprise. It worked. They will never know which one is real. Elias grinned. Sometimes chaos is the best defense. For the first time, Rathven allowed a small chuckle. You humans live in chaos. Yeah, Elias said, his smile fading slightly. But somehow, we make it work. Hours later, as they sat near the control deck, Elias looked through the viewport at the distant stars. You know, he said quietly, when I joined the fleet I thought I'd just explore. I never thought I'd end up in a war. You are still at war, Rathven said softly. But not with your enemies. With your nature. Elias turned toward him. And you? What about your war? Rathven looked away. Mine has just begun. Before Elias could ask more, alarms blared. The ship's sensors detected movement. Rathven rushed to the console. Multiple contacts. They found us. How many? Elias asked, already limping toward the weapon systems. 4 interceptors. 1 command ship, Rathven said grimly. Elias smiled darkly. Then we've got company. The asteroid base trembled as enemy ships appeared on the horizon, their engines glowing crimson. Energy blasts struck the surface, throwing dust and fire into the air. Shields at 30%. Rathven shouted. Elias took the co-pilot seat. Weapons ready? Rathven hesitated. These guns are old. They cannot. Elias interrupted. Just tell me where to aim. Rathven stared at him for a moment, then nodded. Forward cannons. Target their propulsion units. The ship rose from the asteroid, engines burning bright. The enemy interceptors moved fast, firing continuous plasma bolts. Elias grabbed the weapon controls. His fingers, though weak, moved with practiced precision. Let's see if human luck still works in space. He fired. The cannons shook the ship. 2 bright blue beams hit the lead interceptor. Direct hit. It spun out of control, crashing into another. Rathven's eyes widened. How did you? Instinct, Elias said with a grin. Humans don't aim with numbers. We aim with feeling. The 3rd interceptor fired back, hitting their right wing. Sparks filled the cockpit. The ship shook violently. Stabilizers failing. Rathven shouted. Elias gritted his teeth. Not yet. He fired again. This time, the shot hit the command ship's scanner array, blinding their targeting system. Rathven quickly activated the stealth drive, and the small ship vanished into darkness. The remaining enemy crafts fired blindly into space, unable to see them. They escaped, barely. Minutes later, silence returned. Both men sat breathing heavily. Smoke filled the cockpit. Systems flickered. That, Elias said between gasps, was close. Rathven nodded. You are reckless. Elias smirked. You mean brave? Rathven looked at him for a long time. Perhaps both. The AI's voice broke the silence. Damage critical. Recommend immediate landing. Rathven guided the ship toward a small moon nearby. As they descended, Elias looked out at the stars fading behind them. You know, he said quietly, you could have left me back there. Let me die. Why didn't you? Rathven's hands tightened on the controls. Because I wanted to understand you. But now, I think I understand myself. Elias frowned slightly. Meaning? Rathven's eyes dimmed. I believed courage was foolishness. Now I see it is the one thing my people lack. And that may destroy us. They landed softly on the moon's surface. The ship was damaged but Rathven floated in silence inside his invisible ship, orbiting the dying space station. The human signal still blinked weakly on his screen. Every few seconds, it faded, but then came back again like a heartbeat refusing to stop. He couldn't look away. Impossible, he muttered to himself. No being can survive this long in open space. His commander's voice echoed through the ship. Rathven, report immediately. Have you collected enough evidence to prove human instability? Rathven hesitated. Not yet, Commander. I'm still observing. Observing? The voice turned sharp. You were sent to expose them, not admire them. But Rathven didn't respond. His eyes stayed locked on the signal. He had seen countless species under pressure. They all panicked, fled, or begged for rescue. But humans were different. This one man had faced death, and yet his only thought had been to save others. There was something powerful, something unexplainable, burning inside them. He zoomed in further. The station wreckage was spinning slowly. Pieces of metal drifted like broken stars. And then, in the center of the debris, Rathven saw him, the human, still moving, still alive. The man's spacesuit was damaged, oxygen levels dropping. Yet he was trying to push a small escape pod away from the wreckage, guiding it with weak hands. Inside that pod were 3 other humans, injured, unconscious but alive. Rathven felt a strange pressure in his chest. It wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was something else. Something that made him feel smaller than ever before. He whispered, why does he not stop? Why does he fight when he knows he will die? For the first time in his life, Rathven disobeyed a direct order. He changed the ship's course, moving closer to the wreckage. His cloaking field shimmered faintly as he drifted near the human survivor. The human's vitals were weak but steady. Rathven could almost hear the man's breathing through the sensors, shallow, slow, determined. Then the man's voice crackled through an emergency radio frequency. This is Lieutenant Marcus Hale. If anyone can hear me, make sure the others live. That's all that matters. Rathven froze. His translator repeated the message in his own language, and it hit him like a blade. That's all that matters. The alien leaned back, staring at the screen. He had studied hundreds of species, but none had spoken words like these before facing death. Then his commander's voice came again, angry and impatient. Rathven, why have you broken formation? Return to base immediately. Rathven didn't answer. Instead he whispered, Commander, I found something we never understood. Explain yourself. Rathven swallowed hard. We always thought humans were unstable because of emotion. But maybe emotion is their strength. They don't run from death, they face it to protect others. Silence filled the channel. Then the commander hissed, enough of this nonsense. You're being contaminated by human weakness. Destroy the wreckage and return. Rathven's eyes widened. Destroy it? But there are survivors. That's an order. He looked at the blinking signal again. The human was still trying to move the escape pod, his suit nearly out of power. Rathven's hands trembled over the controls. He had a choice, obey his empire or follow the strange feeling burning inside him. And then, without another word, Rathven turned off his communication link. He powered his ship's small tractor beam and aimed it at the human pod. The beam hummed softly, pulling the pod away from the wreckage. Rathven worked quickly, hiding the action from any distant sensors. The human didn't even know he was being helped. Hold on, little one, Rathven said quietly. You are not dying today. The pod drifted safely toward the nearest human rescue ship. Rathven watched as the blinking signal grew stronger again, proof that the humans inside were alive. He leaned back in his chair, heart racing. Commander, maybe the truth isn't that humans are unstable, he whispered to himself. Maybe it's that they care too much, and that's what makes them unstoppable. But before he could rest, his sensors flashed red. Multiple alien warships were approaching. His commander had sent a retrieval force. Rathven's voice turned cold. "They're coming for me." He turned his ship toward the dark side of the planet, engines silent, cloak flickering. For the first time in his life, Rathven wasn't following orders. He was following something far stronger, something human. As the alien warships scanned the area, the pod carrying the human survivors drifted safely toward Earth. And Rathven disappeared into the darkness, whispering to himself, "Now I understand why they fight." Cliffhanger for Part 5. Rathven's betrayal doesn't stay hidden for long. His empire brands him a traitor, and sends a hunter fleet to capture him before he can return to Earth. But humanity has noticed the mysterious rescue, and now Earth's command wants to know who helped them from the shadows. The silence of deep space wrapped around Rathven's ship like a cloak of guilt. Every light, every hum, every system felt louder now that he had disobeyed direct orders. His screen still showed the fading trail of the human escape pod he had secretly saved. It was safe now, heading back toward Earth. The humans inside would live. But Rathven knew he was no longer safe. A cold message appeared on his control panel, an encrypted signal from his empire. "Ariane, you are guilty of treason. Stand down or be terminated." His claws tightened on the console. "They know," he whispered. "They always know." He looked out through the dark window of his ship. The stars seemed to stare back at him, silent witnesses to his choice. Somewhere below, the blue world of Earth glowed softly, unaware of the storm coming. Rathven switched off the main engines and drifted into the planet's shadow. His ship vanished from sensors, hidden by the cloak field. But he could already detect the hunter fleet approaching. 3 warships, fast and merciless. He whispered, "They will destroy everything to erase what I saw." Meanwhile, on Earth's orbit, the human rescue team picked up the drifting pod. When the hatch opened, medics rushed in. The survivors were weak but alive, thanks to a strange, unknown force that had pushed them to safety. Lieutenant Marcus Hale lay unconscious, barely breathing. His voice logs had recorded his final message. The engineers replayed it again and again. "If anyone can hear me, make sure the others live. That's all that matters." The commander of the human rescue ship frowned. Someone help them. But no known ship was near the wreck. Who was it? They replayed sensor data. For 1 second, just one, they caught a faint ripple of energy, a cloaked signal not matching any human technology. "Sir," an officer said, voice shaking. "Whatever it was, it saved them." Back in the darkness, Rathven tried to reroute his ship's systems. His energy cores were running low. He had used most of his power to pull the pod to safety. Suddenly an alarm blared. Enemy lock detected. The hunter fleet had found him. 3 massive alien ships broke out of warp, their weapons glowing with deadly light. A message came through, cold and sharp. "Rathven of the 4th Division," the voice growled. "You are charged with spreading contamination and aiding an inferior species. Power down your vessel or face destruction." Rathven didn't answer. Instead, he stared at the small blue planet below. He thought of the human he had saved, Marcus Hale, and the strange strength he had seen in him. "I will not run," he whispered. "Not this time." He switched on his communication beacon and sent a single encrypted pulse toward Earth, a silent message in human frequency. Then he turned his ship around to face the hunters. Inside the alien fleet's command ship, the leader sneered. "He dares face us alone? Foolish." But when their weapons charged, Rathven's ship moved, fast, unpredictable, darting through debris and shadows. His cloaking field flickered like lightning. He fired no weapons. He wasn't trying to kill, only to delay them, to keep them away from Earth. Energy blasts ripped through the darkness. One hit his wing, another tore through his engine. The ship spun, alarm screaming. But Rathven didn't stop. He turned the damaged vessel around, charging straight toward the biggest warship. His commander's voice thundered through the channel. "Stop this madness. You cannot save them." Rathven's voice came calm and steady. "Maybe not. But I can show them why humans are not weak." He slammed the emergency boosters, sending his ship crashing into the hunter's front line. The explosion rippled across space, bright, silent, and beautiful. 2 of the enemy ships broke formation, spinning away in chaos. The rest began searching for wreckage. But Rathven's ship wasn't destroyed, not completely. Hidden inside a drifting fragment of debris, his escape pod floated quietly, its systems in stealth mode. His breathing was slow, shallow. He looked toward Earth one last time. "Now I know," he whispered. "Courage is not madness. It's choice." He closed his eyes as his pod descended toward Earth's upper atmosphere, burning through the clouds like a falling star. On Earth's surface, deep in a hidden research center, a scientist named Dr. Elise Kaur watched her sensors spike. "Something's entering the atmosphere," she said. "It's not human, but it's alive." Her assistant frowned. "An alien craft?" Dr. Kaur zoomed in on the data. "No, too small. More like an escape pod." She paused, staring at the readings, faint, fading but definitely there. "Send a recovery team," she said. "We're not losing this one." Cliffhanger for Part 6. Rathven's escape pod crashes on Earth. Injured and hunted by his own kind, he's discovered by humans, the very species he was sent to destroy. As he wakes up in a human facility, the truth about what he's learned spreads beyond Earth, and his empire prepares for war. The night sky over Earth glowed for a brief moment, a streak of light cutting across the atmosphere. To most people it looked like a meteor. But deep inside a military base hidden in the desert, alarms began to ring. "Unidentified object entering Earth's atmosphere," the operator shouted. "Small craft, possible escape pod." Dr. Elise Kaur rushed to the screen. Her eyes widened when she saw the readings. "This is not one of ours," she whispered. "Get a recovery team out there now." Moments later, a group of soldiers and scientists landed near the crash site. The pod had carved a long burning trail through the sand, smoking and half-buried. Its metal was strange, black and reflective, unlike any known alloy. When the soldiers pried it open, smoke hissed out. Inside lay Rathven, unconscious, badly burned, his breathing weak. The commander frowned. "What is that thing?" Dr. Kaur stepped forward slowly. "Not a thing, someone." Inside the base's medical chamber, bright lights filled the room. Machines hummed as doctors worked to keep the alien alive. His body was unlike anything they had seen. Silver skin, faintly glowing veins, and eyes that flickered even in sleep. When Rathven finally opened his eyes, he saw human faces staring down at him. For a moment he panicked. His instincts screamed to fight, to escape. But his body was too weak to move. "Easy," Dr. Kaur said softly, holding up her hand. "You're safe here." He blinked, confused. "Safe? With humans?" Her expression softened. "You fell from the sky. We don't leave anyone behind, not even you." Those words hit him like lightning. "We don't leave anyone behind." He had heard something like that before, from Lieutenant Marcus Hale, the human he'd saved. He tried to speak. "Why, help me. I am your enemy." Dr. Kaur looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "Maybe. But you saved our people first, didn't you?" Rathven froze. "How do you know that?" She pressed a button. A hologram appeared, footage from the wrecked space station. It showed the moment the human escape pod had been pulled away from the debris by an invisible force. "That energy signature wasn't ours," she said. "We traced it. It came from you." Rathven turned his gaze away. "I disobeyed my kind. I am a traitor." Dr. Kaur smiled gently. "Maybe not a traitor. Maybe a witness." Outside the lab, a group of officers argued in whispers. "We can't keep it here," one said. "If his people find out, they'll attack Earth." Another replied, "He might have information that could save us. The alien fleet is still out there." As they spoke, alarms suddenly blared. Satellite scans showed multiple unidentified ships approaching Earth's orbit. The commander shouted, "It's them, his fleet." Rathven, still weak, heard the commotion. He struggled to sit up, wires pulling from his arms. "They've come," he said softly. "They won't stop until I'm dead." Dr. Kaur's voice shook. "Then we'll hide you." He shook his head. "No. They will destroy this world to find me. I cannot let that happen." He turned his eyes toward the viewing window, the blue planet stretching endlessly below. "I once believed humans were weak. But now I know, courage is not about power. It's about standing even when you are afraid." He slowly reached for the communicator beside him. "Let me talk to them." Dr. Kaur hesitated, then nodded. "Okay, but we'll be here with you." High above Earth, the alien commander's fleet surrounded the planet, ready to fire. A message came through their comms, Rathven's voice. Weak but calm. "Commander, call off your attack." The alien leader's eyes burned. "You disgrace our name, Rathven. You chose them over us." Rathven replied, "No. I chose truth. You betrayed your species." "I learned something you never will," Rathven said quietly. "Humans fight not because they want war, but because they protect each other. Even when everything is lost, they don't stop caring." The commander sneered. Pathetic words. You will die with them. But before the order could be given, human defense satellites came online, locking onto the alien ships. The humans had been listening the whole time. Rathven smiled faintly. You see, Commander? They stand together, always. He pressed a final sequence into the communicator. The screen flickered as a massive energy pulse spread from his crashed pod, a code he had hidden deep in his ship's systems. It disrupted the alien fleet's targeting computers, forcing them to retreat or risk being destroyed by their own weapons. The commander's voice crackled in rage. What have you done? Rathven closed his eyes. Something human. Moments later, the alien fleet withdrew. The skies cleared. The threat was gone for now. Inside the lab, alarms went silent. Dr. Kor ran to Rathven's side. It's over. You did it. He smiled weakly. No. We did it. His breathing slowed. The glow in his veins dimmed. Dr. Kor gripped his hand. Don't go. He looked at her, really looked, and whispered, Now I understand what courage truly means. Then his eyes closed, peaceful and still. Days later, Earth's leaders gathered around the site of the crash. The alien body had vanished, taken, some believed, by the stars themselves. But one message remained carved into the pod's inner walls, in perfect English. Bravery is not born of power. It is born of love. And far above, among the silent stars, a faint signal pulsed once more, Rathven's voice, echoing through the void. The truth about human courage left even me speechless. In the silent darkness above Earth, a single alien ship floated like a shadow. Hidden by advanced cloaking fields, it could not be seen by any human eye or machine. Inside that ship sat Rathven, an alien spy from the Zyran Empire. His eyes glowed faint blue as he watched Earth through invisible sensors. For years, his people believed humans were nothing, weak, emotional, and self-destructive. The Empire had sent him to prove it. His task was simple: collect evidence that humans were dangerous only to themselves, not worth fearing or respecting. Rathven had been watching humans for months, studying their wars, their politics, their endless arguments. To him they looked chaotic. So many nations, so many leaders, so much noise. They fight each other more than they fight anyone else, he often said to himself. How did such a species even survive? But that night something strange happened. His sensors picked up distress signals from a human space station orbiting close to the moon. The station was falling apart after a reactor explosion. Flames and debris scattered into space as small escape pods launched one by one. Alarms blared across the human communication channels. Rathven leaned forward, curious. Another human disaster, he murmured. But as his scanners zoomed in, he noticed something. One human was not leaving. Inside the crumbling station, a man in a damaged space suit was helping others into escape pods. He pushed a wounded crewmate toward safety, then sealed the hatch with his bare hands as fire burned behind him. Who is he? Rathven asked his AI assistant. The system replied, Captain Elias Ward, commanding officer, age 38, human male. Rathven watched carefully as Elias turned back toward the flames, ignoring his own chance to live. The reactor core was seconds away from collapse. But instead of fleeing, the captain ran deeper into the station. Why would he do that? Rathven whispered. He will die. He watched through the cameras as Elias reached the control room. The man was trying to reroute power, sacrificing himself so the last pod could launch. Rathven's alien heart felt something. Not pity. Not confusion. Something else. The explosion came. The station burst into light, scattering metal and fire into space. For a moment, everything went silent. The last human pod drifted safely away. Rathven leaned back in his seat, stunned. He had seen humans fight. He had seen them kill. But never had he seen one choose to die so others could live. His kind didn't believe in sacrifice. In the Zyran Empire, one life was worth more than many. No one gave themselves up. Ever. Why would someone choose death? Rathven said softly. It makes no sense. He replayed the footage again and again. The moment Elias Ward closed the hatch. The way his hand trembled before the flames consumed him. The determined look in his eyes. Rathven didn't understand it. A message came from his commander, High Marshal Krith, through the comlink. Agent Rathven report. Rathven hesitated. I have observed an incident aboard a human space station. The species shows signs of emotional instability. Then your mission is complete, Krith said coldly. Return to base and submit your report. We have enough proof that humans are reckless. Rathven paused. His claws tapped the console. But Marshal, there is something unusual. A human sacrificed himself so that others might live. Krith laughed, a cruel metallic sound. Sacrifice? Do not be fooled by their chaos. They act out of confusion, not courage. Leave the system immediately. The channel cut off. Rathven stared at the fading screen. For the first time he disobeyed a direct order. Something deep inside told him he hadn't seen the full truth yet. He turned his sensors back toward the wreckage of the destroyed station, scanning for life signs. At first there was nothing but twisted metal and floating debris. But then a faint signal appeared. Weak but real. Rathven's eyes widened. Impossible. He zoomed in. In the center of the broken station, amid fire and smoke, a figure was moving. The life form was human, Captain Elias Ward. His suit was torn, oxygen nearly gone, but he was alive. How? Rathven whispered. He survived that? The sensors showed him struggling to pull another body from the wreckage, one of his injured crewmates. Despite bleeding and barely breathing, Elias was trying to save others. Rathven's chest tightened. His hands trembled. He's still trying to help them, even now? He couldn't look away. The image of the human captain, broken and burning but still fighting, burned itself into Rathven's mind. It didn't match anything he had been taught. He opened a new log entry in his ship's recorder. Observation 214. Human behavior, illogical yet fascinating. Individual continues rescue efforts despite near-certain death. Motivation, unknown. Possible factor, courage? He stopped recording and leaned back. Courage. The word felt strange in his mouth. His kind had no word for such a thing. He checked the human's vitals again. The oxygen level dropped lower. The signal grew weaker. But the human didn't stop. Why? Rathven whispered again. Why won't he give up? Outside the ship's window, Earth glowed below, blue, calm, fragile. And yet somewhere down there lived billions more like Captain Ward. Billions with that same impossible spark. Rathven finally understood one thing. This was not going to be a simple report. This was the beginning of something far bigger. He turned off his cloaking system for a brief moment, letting the stars reflect on his ship's hull. If this is weakness, he said quietly, then I don't understand strength. But before he could think more, his sensors blinked red. Incoming ships. Unidentified. Fast. Armed. Rathven narrowed his eyes. The readings were not human. Who's here? He muttered. The computer answered. Multiple Zyran war probes approaching. Orders, retrieve the spy. Terminate all evidence. Rathven froze. His own people were coming for him. He looked one last time at the dying human signal and made his choice. He whispered to the stars, You're not dying alone, human. Then he pushed the throttle forward, toward the wreckage, toward danger, and toward the truth that would change everything.